Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Toth. I'm a domain specialist for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Observability Management. Today, I'll give you a quick look at how to enable and how to use the capabilities of OCI Database Management. Now, here we have a fully deployed cloud database system. To enable database management for this, scroll down and go to the database of the system. Here, you can enable database management for the container database of the system. Now, when you enable database management, you have to provide a few pieces of information and make a decision between full or basic management. Everything you see in this part of the screen will be automatically filled out by the database cloud service. Down here, you provide a username. Usually we use DBSNMP. You also have to provide the password of the user as a secret to OCI Vault. Finally, in database management, you create a private endpoint, which essentially represents the database container in the virtual cloud network. Down here, you select between full database management or basic database management. Basic database management will give you a couple of basic monitoring metrics and performance hub for the container database, while full database management will give you everything the service provides for the container database. With that said, let's have a look at what database management actually is. Now, here you see what is the fleet summary of database management. The core idea of database management is to provide monitoring and management for individual databases or the entire database fleet, meaning the entire collection of databases that a DBA is responsible for. All these capabilities are in the cloud, so the DBA can focus on monitoring and managing databases rather than the database tools. So this is monitoring at the fleet level. Have a look at how the fleet is using resources overall, as well as the stability of that usage. For example, up here, you can see that in the last hour, the database fleet is using 11% more storage compared to the same hour yesterday. You can also compare the usage to the same hour of the same day last week. You can also compare full days as opposed to a single hour. This is the fleet view. This is the list view of the database fleet. You can also group and visualize the performance of the database fleet over here by selecting a metric and selecting some factor to group the databases by, for example, the container database. If we drill down to an individual database, we can see the monitoring and management options at this level. So for this individual database, we've got a summary of similar metrics like we saw in the fleet view, but with more details. For example, what table spaces are using the storage of this particular database. Here, there's also full management of the database's table spaces. You can create, update, and drop the table spaces as necessary from this interface. Get an overview of the database users, their status, and table spaces. Fully manage the initialization parameters of your database here as well. Simply click here to edit them. And for additional management, define query jobs that can either run once or regularly at a specified schedule. You can specify the query for this down here. This is a query job definition for a single database. However, for fleet management, you can also group the container and pluggable databases as you like, and then define query jobs for these groups of databases as well, like I showed you before. This way, you can perform management not just at the individual database level, but also at the fleet level, or at least for entire groups of databases. Up here, you see two central components for any DBA to get a better understanding of the database metrics and workloads, the Performance Hub and the AWR Explorer. In the Performance Hub, you have Ash Analytics or Average Active Session History Analytics. This helps you to analyze where and what exactly the database spends its precious time when serving applications and human users as average active sessions. Those active sessions can then be filtered by some dimension, for example, wait events or pluggable databases. You can even filter the active sessions at either, for example, the SQL level or the user session level. If the DBA sees an issue with how a SQL spends the database's time, the query can be tuned up here. This means that database management will analyze the query, suggest a way to optimize the query, explain the rationale behind this suggestion, and then give the DBA the required SQL statement to implement the suggested tuning. Performance Hub also has real-time SQL monitoring to see the details and execution plans of running queries. You can even kill long-running and unfinished SQLs, which take the database's time. Automatic Database Diagnostic Monitor, or ADDM, analyzes the general performance of the database and recommends optimizations to the DBA as well. Finally, you can also kill user sessions blocking other users from accessing certain records in the database table. The Automatic Workload Repository Explorer, or the AWR Explorer, is a visual tool to show DBAs critical performance statistics of the database. Under Load Profile, you can see fundamental system statistics about the load and the health of the database. Traditionally, all the information of the Automatic Workload Repository is displayed as comprehensive reports as the one you see here. The AWR Explorer visualizes all of this information for easier analysis. For example, under wait events, it's visualized how the average wait time for a wait event might have increased even if the number of waits per second has remained unchanged or maybe even decreased. This is an issue a DBA would be interested to have a look at. You can also find changed database parameters that might have affected the performance as visualized in the other tabs of the AWR Explorer. The DBA can use this visual tool and also export the full report, the full AWR report over here, similar to what you've seen here. And the DBA will use this information from OCI Database Management to take action and support the Oracle database fleet. This was a quick view at the capabilities of OCI Database Management. Thank you very much for watching.